X Reviews. Today I'm going to be talking about the Captain America the Winter Soldier Blu-ray, which has been released today in the UK. Today is the 18th of August 2014. It's my understanding that this isn't actually available in America yet, which kind of sucks, to be honest, because it's an American film. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate the fact that we've got it now rather than later, but seriously, it's an American film. I mean, the clue's kind of in the title, but I think it's unfair, basically. So if you're watching this in America, please don't hate me, for that reason, anyway. Now, like I say, this is the latest film. I've collected all of these on Blu-rays and have reviewed them separately up at brandxreviews.com if you want to look at that. I've also actually reviewed the film itself back in March, so I'm not really going to be getting into the actual film itself. I'm just going to talk about the Blu-ray and what I think about it. I love it actually on days like this, when this collection grows. It's really nice. I've been kind of collecting these, well, obviously from the beginning, and it's really nice on these rare days. You get 2 days a year like this where you get to add to it, so it's really nice to do that. I'm a geek. Little things like that just really just kind of appeal to me. Damn well better films than the previous Captain America films anyway.
The ultimate battle for justice is about to begin. Captain America.
When Captain America throws his mighty shield, all those who chose to oppose his shield must yield. If he's led to a fight and a duel is due, then the red and the white and the blue will come through when Captain America throws his mighty shield.
Really bad, some of them, but no, the Chris Evans ones are brilliant. They're absolutely 10 out of 10. They are golden. But this one anyway, I'll shut up now and I'll actually talk about the Blu-ray itself, because you probably want to know. And you can read online what there is. So what I'm going to do is just basically itemize it and say what I think of it. So extra features, obviously that's kind of what you want to know. It's a one-disc deal again, which is a real shame, because to put this into context, all the previous Blu-rays up to the first Captain America pretty much were very generous on extra features, to the point where you get 2 discs, and that's 2 Blu-rays. You know, they can hold quite a bit of extra stuff as well as the film, because it's a higher capacity disc. But from Avengers onwards, the extras were really kind of lacking. It was a real shame, to be honest. And Captain America the Winter Soldier is probably the worst one for extras. It's a real shame. And I'll go into the specifics anyway. So you've got a commentary track, fairly standard. There's a gag reel as well, which I think is on YouTube anyway, but that aside, it's nice to have it on here. So that's only a few minutes long. It is quite good. Deleted scenes, there's 4 deleted scenes on this. If you get it on DVD, you only get 1, so the Blu-ray kind of has the upper hand on there, as you would imagine. There is, the first deleted scene is called In Pursuit of Captain America. That's basically where there's like a SWAT team that are chasing Captain America down with a tracker, and they go into this, looks like a school gymnasium, and it turns out what they're actually tracking down is Captain's uniform, which he's dumped in a sports bag in the gym, and it's his mask / helmet and his uniform basically. And that's the first lead scene. Second one is called Hill and Sitwell Talk Loyalty. Hill being Maria Hill, she's the one that's subordinate to Nick Fury, and Sitwell, he's the kind of bald guy with glasses, black guy, who turns out to be a Hydra agent, works for S.H.I.E.L.D. We first saw him in the film Thor briefly, and he was also in the Avengers Assemble, and I think he was in a couple of Marvel one-shots as well. So there's a deleted scene with them just talking, and Sitwell basically says to Agent Hill, "You're off the pursuit of Captain America because I know that you're conflict of interest basically, and you're friends with him, so you're off this because of that." And that's that. And he talks about the reason why is because he wants people. Well, they need people that are loyal to S.H.I.E.L.D., which we know is actually Hydra. So it's kind of got a bit of a sinister twist to it, which I think that's probably why they cut it, because they didn't want a sinister side to his character being revealed maybe too soon, I don't know, or they didn't want it to be as obvious. The next deleted scene, Nick Fury's Circle. That's just a conversation between Nick Fury and Black Widow, and it's not really all that great, it's just kind of them talking about his kind of immediate circle of people, and she's kind of got concerns about it. It doesn't really get more interesting than that. Then there's the fourth and last deleted scene, Widow reveals her past, and that is not even really a deleted scene, it's more an extended version of a scene that's already in the film. The bit where she's about to leak on the internet all the secrets, and the Robert Redford character says to her, well, are you sure you want to do this? Because it's not just S.H.I.E.L.D. secrets, it's also your own. We know she's got a bit of a checkered past. It's been kind of hinted at in the other, well, strongly hinted at in the other films. But in this, it's the same scene that you saw in the film, because obviously that's what he says in the film, but also he kind of goes through the list, and he mentions the children's ward, which presumably she bombed a children's ward, or some children got killed. She kind of looks at him. So obviously that's something, because she mentioned in Avengers Assemble she's got red in her ledger, so there's a bit of an elaboration there on something to do with the children's ward, something she's not proud of. They cut that, maybe they thought it was a bit too kind of dark, because I mean there's no real way you can take that other than she's killed children. Maybe they just didn't want that as part of in the film. I mean these films are done by Disney as well, so maybe the studios cut it because they thought it was too kind of dark for what they wanted to put out. I don't know. Interesting, but again, it's not really a deleted scene, it's an extended scene. Interesting to see that. I'm glad that they included it. Now, there's only 3 featurettes on this, and the longest of which is 10 minutes, which is a real shame, because like I say, on all the other ones you get hours of extras and documentaries, and they are good as well. I mean, I don't usually sit through stuff like that, but I did with the ones on the Iron Man 1 and 2 and Hulk and all that, because they were very good. I'm sure they could have done that with this. Anyway, featurettes. The first one is called On the Front Line, Inside Look at Captain America's Battlegrounds. And it's basically, it's a general making of the film, kind of inside look with interviews and stuff. I mean, a lot of it does cover kind of the stunts and the action and stuff like that. So I think that's why they've kind of called it Captain America's Battlegrounds. But again, it's very short. There's one called On Set with Anthony Mackie, Cut the Check. Cut the Check is like some kind of weird catchphrase that he's got, which they kind of say like it's kind of lost all meaning. Doesn't even make sense because he just keeps like shouting it whenever they've like finished doing a scene or something. You have to kind of see it to understand it, but again, that's like literally like 2 or 3 minutes long, if that. And Anthony Mackie, obviously the guy that played Falcon, you probably knew that already. The last featurette is called Steve Rogers' Notebook, and again, a couple of minutes long, but it's about a scene in the film, right at the beginning, the first scene of the film, where Captain America's talking to Falcon about things that he needs to catch up on, things that he's missed out on in the past 70 years. And he's got a list of things that he needs to kind of look at, things like Nirvana and Star Wars, Star Trek, Rocky 2 kind of thing. And apparently what he's written down varies from country to country. They did some kind of online thing where people got to vote what they wanted to be on the list, basically, and they wanted it to have a more international appeal rather than just like an American hero. They wanted it to have, like I say, an international appeal. So depending on what country you're in, I think it varies what is on the list, because it says on the documentary, in the British one it would have World Cup 1966 because that was like a historical moment, but that's because England won the World Cup, so maybe in America that's not really as relevant. But it's not actually in the Blu-ray, but it was Disco, I think, is the variant that's in my version anyway. Interesting, but you know. And that's pretty much it. Those are the extras. A real shame as well they haven't done a Marvel one-shot with this. The Marvel one-shots are something that started with the original Thor film, where it's a short film that is set in continuity with the films. It's mostly done for laughs. It's mostly kind of comedic. The Thor one and the Captain America First Avenger Marvel one-shots were about Agent Coulson. And then there was an Avengers Assemble one, which was about S.H.I.E.L.D. There was one on Iron Man 3, which is about Agent Carter. That was a female character from World War II in Captain America First Avenger. And the Thor Dark World one really kind of peaked with its Marvel one-shot because it had a really good one with the Mandarin, Arthur Mandarin. Turned out he was an actor. I won't go into that, but yeah, that was a really good one, was that. And I was hoping, obviously, that they might even top that with the next film out, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Not the case. There's nothing. There's no Marvel one shot on there. Really, really a shame. But good film anyway. I mean, I love this film. I thought it was 10 out of 10, just like all the others. Maybe, I think a lot of people have said that Phase 2, that's the films from Iron Man 3 onwards. there's a phase which is kind of split with each Avengers film. Well, that's how it's going to be. So all the films up to Avengers Assemble, Iron Man 1 and 2, Incredible Hulk, Thor, Captain America, First Avenger, that's phase 1. So Iron Man 3, Thor the Dark World, Captain America the Winter Soldier, and Guardians of the Galaxy, and then including Avengers Age of Ultron, that's all phase 2. A lot of people have said that they're not happy with phase 2, but Captain America, I think, kind of changed that, because when it was just Iron Man 3 and Thor the Dark World, a lot of people were saying, oh man, phase 2 is really not as good, maybe because Disney kind of took over from Avengers Assemble onwards. But yeah, I mean, I think this was a turning point because this was really good. Maybe the standard was a little bit kind of lowered, Iron Man 3 and Thor the Dark World. I don't know, I liked them, to be honest. But this and Guardians of the Galaxy, which you can see the review at brandxreviews.com from the other week, have been very good, so I'm happy. Now, I was kind of talking about this on Facebook. Some of my friends were asking, like, what are the next films that are going to be coming out? So I said I was going to kind of go into that as well. So if you're watching this, Stu, Kathy as well, you kind of commented on that. So let's go into that anyway. The next films that are coming out, I'm talking theatrically, and I'm going off the top of my head as well, so it might be a month or so out in some cases. But every 2 years, no, sorry, not every 2 years, every year there's going to be 2 films. And from what I understand, one of the films in its respective year will be a sequel or a follow-up. So obviously this is a sequel. And the other film will be a new property. So this year we had Captain America Winter Soldier, that's a sequel. The new property was Guardians of the Galaxy, because we haven't seen them before. So next year, same thing. We've got, the next film to come out is going to be Avengers Age of Ultron, and that will be around about, let's just say around about Easter time next year. I can't remember the exact date, whether it was April or May or even March. But it's around about then anyway, early spring, summer kind of thing. That's going to be Age of Ultron, so that's a sequel. And then later on in the year, I think in August time, we have Ant-Man, which is a new property. We haven't had Ant-Man in any of the films so far. If you don't know who Ant-Man is, look it up. He's a guy that can kind of shrink and kind of grow, either of the two. It's going to be more of a caper film, from what I understand, than a kind of superhero with a villain kind of film. So that's quite good. But yeah, look up Ant-Man. I'm not going to go into that right now. So those are 2 films next year. After that, so that's 2015, after that 2016 now, we have the sequel film, which will be Captain America 3, as yet untitled. And presumably that's going to go more into the stuff about the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barton's character. Well, I say presumably, I know that's going to be the case. There's a few other little things. I know that the Crossbones character, that was I think it was called Brumlow, his character that was in the Winter Soldier. He was a guy played by Frank Grillo. He always plays kind of side characters, but I thought he was quite good in this. He's the one that gets into the fight at the end and he's all burnt and you kind of see him taken away on a stretcher. That's Crossbones in the comics, and he's going to become Crossbones. He wears like a mask. Kind of looks a bit like Bane in some ways, just not quite as big. Well, his character presumably is going to be in the next Captain America film. It's going to be a Captain America character. Now, I do know Frank Grillo has said, yes, he's going to be back, so I'm not just being presumptive there. Other things as well, like I say, it's going to continue the thing with Bucky Barnes / Winter Soldier character. I don't know exactly where they're going with it, but it'll be interesting. So that's Captain America 3, and that's out in May. I think it was May the 6th, 2016. And originally that was going to be the same date that the Batman vs Superman film was going to be released on, so there was going to be a conflict there. I was really undecided which film I would go see first. Obviously see them on the same day, but it doesn't matter anymore because they've they've brought forward to March 2016 the Batman vs Superman film. So anyway, that's that anyway, Captain America 3. The next film after that will be obviously around about August 2016. As far as I know, it's as yet untitled. They haven't announced what that film will be. I'm assuming it will either be Thor 3, because they did leave that one kind of open for another direct sequel, or possibly Doctor Strange, but I doubt it. I think it will be Thor 3, to be honest. The Doctor Strange character is something that they're going to be obviously doing in Phase 3. And if you're unsure about who he is, look him up. He's he's a kind of magician, basically, and they haven't really tapped the whole magic thing in this franchise yet. And I think if they get the casting right, it could be quite good. I've heard that Joaquin Phoenix is in talks to be Doctor Strange. I don't know how far that is or how true that is. But yeah, it could be quite good. If they do that, he could be the next Iron Man, the next really charismatic character played by a really good actor that could carry the franchise and keep the fanship kind of strong, like Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man did. He's a fan favourite. So that's that. I'm thinking that it'll probably more likely be Thor 3 than that. But then again, if it is Thor 3, that will be 2 sequels in a year. So that goes against what I've heard. So maybe it will be Doctor Strange. I don't know. But yeah, that's the August 2016 film. I'm kind of guessing a bit there. Now, what I do know is the film after that. So we're talking the first film in 2017 now. The sequel film is going to be Guardians of the Galaxy 2. They've said that, they've announced it. In fact, they even announced it before Guardians of the Galaxy 1 opened. So, I mean, they knew that Guardians of the Galaxy 1 was going to be quite successful. It was a good film, I really liked it, and I think that's the general consensus. So, yeah, do a sequel. I think it'll do well. That point beyond, I don't know. I mean, depending on what film they release in August 2016, Thor 3 or Doctor Strange or whatever, it could be something else. I don't know. I mean, whatever they don't release then will probably be the one that they do release after Guardians of the Galaxy 2 in 2017, like in the August. Beyond that, God knows, I don't know where they're going to go with it. I mean, there will be obviously an Avengers 3 at some point as well, but that's 2018. So I know that for sure. That Avengers 3 2018, and I think that's when Thanos is going to be in it as well, which is really kind of going off into the future now. But apparently they've mapped a lot of this out. I mean, how accurate it's going to kind of come to pass with what they've mapped out. Apparently they've kind of mapped it up to the late 2020s. So, I mean, they're really kind of projecting this thing like 15 years ahead of time now as to where they're going to go. And I think obviously they base a lot of it on what they can do technologically wise and like CGI kind of thing, what they can do easily, because they couldn't have done an Iron Man film like they did in the 90s. There just wasn't the technology there for it. Oh, well, there was, but it just wouldn't have looked as good. It'd have looked like Jar Jar Binks, kind of like really bad CGI that cutting edge at the time maybe, but now it's not bad. Whereas Iron Man looks good. You can't tell what's CGI sometimes and what's actually was real. So I think that's a big consideration that they have to go into with when they're doing things. I think that's the thing with Ant-Man as well. There's, I mean, obviously a guy that shrinks and grows. I mean, you can't like do that with practical effects. Really, you have to do with CGI to a massive extent. So I think that's why they've waited. But I think that's about that anyway. There's not really much else I can say. I've kind of reviewed the film and probably spent more time rambling about future films, to be honest. But that's I'm going to leave it there anyway. So if you want to check back, brandexreviews.com, and I will be covering further Marvel-related films as they come out, obviously. And then we'll just leave it there. Thank you very much for watching.